Welcome PCWorld fans, Adam Patrick Murray here with my coworker Gordon Ma-Ung.
Yeah, what's up?
And you just released a great article comparing the XPS 13 to the XPS 15 on PCWorld.com. You should go read it. But I want to get into the overall question, which Dell XPS is right for you? We're going to break this down by a couple categories and hopefully help people pick which laptop that they should get.
If you're confused, we understand. We have 4 of the 5 XPS. There are 5 XPS, distinct XPS models that Dell is offering today. This is 4 of those 5. The new one we don't have yet, but we're going to talk about what we know and what we can tell you.
Okay, well, why don't we kick it off first by portability, because that's a big difference on whether you're going to get a 13-inch machine or a 15-inch machine. So tell us about that.
Sure. So obviously, if you want portability, you're going to go with the 13-inch laptops. There are 2 XPS 13 9360. This is the older XPS built on the previous body that's been around for quite a few years. Basically, this is the same one that came out a couple years ago. It's gone through quite a few generations. Dell refreshed it with the brand new, beautiful XPS 13 9370. And you can see the big difference is you've got this beautiful, and it really is just this beautiful top lid. It has a slightly bigger keyboard.
Okay.
Interestingly, the keys are just a little bit bigger, maybe a millimeter or so bigger. The trackpad is, very smooth. This one is sometimes a little rubbery on some models I've seen. This one's a very smooth glass. You're also getting Gorilla Glass on this. Even though both of these are 1080p panels, these are both, this one has Gorilla Glass on top of it, just makes it look beautiful,
okay.
right? So this is not touch, but you think it's touch.
Yeah, right.
This also has Windows Hello, biometric login, also fingerprint reader. This one doesn't. It's also slightly lighter, slightly thinner, slightly smaller. Not that much, probably not enough to really make a difference, but very tiny. About 2.6, 2.7 to 3 pounds. Let's call it a 3-pound laptop with a brick. So awesomeness, you can throw this in your bag, you don't even know it's there.
But if portability is the biggest factor in your decision, you're saying that this is the thinnest, this is the lightest, but it's still comfortable to use?
Yeah, so I like the keyboard, I like the screen, overall performance. We'll get into that in detail later. This is my pick for all-out portability, but again, just no Type A. We'll talk about the ports later.
Well, and to go on the other end, some people, sure, they want 13 inches because it's nice and portable, but also you're getting a lot of power in a 15-inch machine. Well, what about the weight on this guy?
The weight on this, it's a solid 5 pounds, I gotta say.
So like 2 pounds
under 5.
2 pounds more than the 13-inch.
Yeah, you're definitely paying a lot in the weight, and also all of these are 1080p. This is a 1080p screen. 1080p doesn't weigh as much as the 4K.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
They're lighter.
Okay.
On Dell, you can no longer get touch in a 1080p, I believe. It's only in the 4K, so when you add touch, you add glass, you add the digitizer, it just gets heavier. So
I didn't know that.
This is the lightest way to go. The other interesting thing, though, that really could mix you up is this. This is the new XPS Dell 2-in-1. It's a 15-inch laptop, and big, of course, it's a 2-in-1. Right? So this gives you 2-in-1 capability in a 15-inch laptop.
Which, if you want to talk about portability, sure, these are smaller and lighter, but you're kind of getting a little bit more functionality out of this because you can use it in different ways than just a traditional laptop. So there's kind of that to bring into the equation, even though it's a 15-inch. The next section is ports.
Yeah, that's a good one. So again, this one, big controversy, no Type A ports. Same thing with the XPS 2-in-1. Dell said, hey, you know what? There's no room for it. In fact, I really need to mention this. This has Dell's maglev keyboard, which has less travel. It's louder. This is slightly better than the Butterfly. I prefer the keyboard in the new XPS 13.
Okay.
But the big deal, of course, is no Type A. This is a pretty big laptop to not have Type A on here. You get 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on this side. You get 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports on this side. All of them support charging. All of them support display out, I believe. There's also a micro SD port and a lock port, which is actually very important. This is not a Kensington lock. This is a Noble lock, so you've got to make sure you buy the right kind.
Okay.
But if you're in a dorm or if you're in a cafe, you want to go to the can, you can actually lock this to the table so people can't just snatch it.
Okay.
The new XPS 9370, 1 Thunderbolt 3 on this side, micro SD, headphone port. All of them have headphone ports. Noble lock, another 2 USB-C ports. This side is actually a USB-C that supports charging and DisplayPort out. These 2 are Thunderbolt out.
Oh, okay.
So Thunderbolt, both of these are full 4-lane Thunderbolt implementations. So no Type A. That's going to burn a lot of people.
How big of a problem is it that these two don't have Type A, these still have Type A? I mean, it seems like in the future Dell's going away from Type A. Like, how big of a deal is it going to be in the future?
I personally think it really, trying to live it, it annoys you. There are times when you're just going to be like, I don't have a dongle. I can't. A lot of people give you USB keys to give you information on.
Not
so this is, of course, old school XPS 13, still on Dell's website, 9360. Look at this. Thunderbolt 3, 2-lane, Type A on this side, headphone. You get your own dedicated charging port, which is nice. I don't know, I'm going to point it out. No block, Type A, SD card reader.
Full SD card reader.
Full SD card reader. And what I like about this laptop, the older XPS 13, which it's thicker, but you can charge this laptop using the charger, and then you'd still have 2 Type A's and your USB-C. This one, when you charge, you plug into one of your 3 ports. It does limit you. It's the same thing. Even though we have 4 ports here, you say again, same thing.
One of them's going to be
One of them's always going to be taken up by your charger. So of course, people say, go out and buy a Thunderbolt 3 monitor. Yeah, nobody does that. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to go out and buy a monitor just to charge their laptop. If you want your ports, XPS 15 Classic here. Look at this. What do we get?
Yeah, what do you got?
You get a Type A, you get an SD, you get your Noble Lock. This side, full-size HDMI.
Ooh, HDMI.
Another Type A, and a Thunderbolt 3 by 4, I believe, in this configuration of this version. And a headphone port, of course. And your charging port. So you plug this in, you can plug in an HDMI monitor, and you still got 2 Type A's and a USB-C available, and Thunderbolt 3.
So if ports are a major concern for you, obviously this is the guy to go with,
right?
Because it literally has the most. So we've already talked a little bit about specs. What are the different configurations each one of them has?
So this one gives you, they're all 8th gen parts, Core i7-8750H, 6-core, 45-watt part. This thing just screams for CPU performance.
Awesome.
And you're getting GeForce GTX 1050 Ti Max Q, right? So that's going to be the winner performance. We can already tell you that right now.
Because none of these other ones have discrete GPUs. So.
None of those has discrete. Number 2, interestingly, so we have the Dell XPS 15 2-in-1 with KB Lake G. This particular one is the Core i5-8705G, I believe.
Okay.
Quad-core, high-performance 8th-gen cores, plus Radeon Vega M graphics, which Polaris. But it's really high-tech stuff. It's all in a little tiny package. Really, really respectable performance. This thing does scream. It's not going to be as fast as this, but it does scream. Both of these actually, interestingly, also have 8th-gen KB Lake R processors, which are quad-core chips. They both have integrated graphics. But I will say there's a big difference. This older model, the 9360, got 1 fan. This one has 2 fans, bigger heat pipe.
Oh, interesting.
This is an i5 Core KB Lake R. This is a Core i7. This is... It will surprise you in performance.
Wow.
And as far as specs go, both of these are LPDDR3, so max RAM, 16 gigs. They come in 4 to 16.
Configurable?
Configurable. Okay. 4 is a little tough on some of these.
Yeah.
XPS 15, everywhere from 8 to 32 gigs, DDR4. This one also is DDR4 as well. I think it'll go 8 to 16, 8 to 32 probably. All 4 of these use SSDs. Are all M.2 SSDs. Dell does sell various levels of SSDs. I believe every single one of these has a 256 gig NVMe drive in them.
Oh, nice.
This one is 97 watt hours, 74 watt hours, 60 watt hours, and 51.
Okay.
So there's just more space for more hardware.
Speaking of price, though, let's go over as configured. What the prices are here.
So this is, I believe, $1,500. This is $1,500.
Oh, okay.
This is $1,200, and this is about $1,100 to $1,000. The best bang for your buck is actually out of the XPS 15.
Okay.
Because you are getting 16 gigs of RAM. You're also getting that discrete graphics part. $1,500. They're all 1080p. This one is 8 gigs. Steps you down to 8 gigs of RAM, same size SSD. At $1,500, interestingly, the new XPS 9370 is not exactly cheap. The only real difference you're getting is not a bigger SSD. You go from a Core i5 to a Core i7. As far as performance goes, you will get better single-threaded performance out of the Core i7. Marginally, you may feel it in Chrome, some Office stuff, but I mean, does anything ever really feel slow with a modern machine? No. I don't think it's really worth it. But Core i5, this thing is actually faster than this thing in a lot of multi-thread tests, especially if you're running something like you're running a really long encode or just doing something that is really heavy on the CPU where the fan's running and it's heating up. Because of the better cooling in this XPS 13, it will actually outperform the Core i7, even though same generation processor than the older XPS 13.
Wow.
So the newer one's actually faster.
Taking all of these configurations and everything that we just went over, which one would you say is the one that you wish you had?
I gotta say, I'm gonna be a little weird. I actually think I may pay the weight penalty for the 15.
Just the 2-in-1.
The 2-in-1.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the XPS 15 is a great powerhouse laptop. It gets a little heavy. I kind of like the fact that in the XPS 2-in-1, I'm getting sort of like the best of all worlds here. I get a convertible. I get my Windows Hello. I get touch. I get pen. Not a huge fan of this keyboard. I wish it had a Type A port on it, but I also get quad core. Better quad-core performance, and I get actually very decent gaming performance. This is very close to the GeForce 1050 Ti Max Q. In some things, some things it'll be 25% slower. Some things will be dead on even.
Okay.
Kind of depends on the game. Kind of depends on the workload. So I kind of like if I had this would do everything. It's definitely heavy though. My number 2 choice is the new XPS. I love this for the size, the weight. It just you put this in your bag, you don't know it's there. It's just so tiny.
Easy.
Actually, I just realized it says something about my priorities because I complain about Type A. I complain about this. If I had to pick, I'd probably pick between the new ones, and I would give up that. Is that Type A port really worth me taking a moral stand? No.
Well, I would say for me, because I need the most performance, and I do really care about ports, especially when I'm out on the road doing video editing and even some gaming. I'm going to go with this guy. I would personally want this in my backpack because I need the most power out of it.
For you, for a video editor, 6 cores, it's really worth it.
Yeah, no.
I don't do enough on the road that I would ever need a 6-core CPU.
Yeah. So thank you for stepping through all this with me, Gordon. And I want to hear what you guys think. Which ones have you picked? Which ones did you like? Which ones would you wish you had in the future? And which ones are you thinking of buying? So let us know in the comments below. And stay tuned to PC World for more awesome laptop and general PC hardware coverage. So thanks, Gordon.
Yeah, no problem.